Welcome back, everybody. So, for those that are new to the stream, my husband and I are making a game in C++ in a game engine that we made in C++. And we are not using LLMs for this project, and we did not use them for the engine. So, if you're interested in how games are made in C++ or in using a custom game engine, this is the channel for you. We stream every couple of days, usually about every other day. We're going to try to keep to that schedule. And this couple of weeks, we've been working on, my husband's working on the back end. This is a multiplayer networked game, and we are working on he's working on the back end, I'm working on the front end, trying to meet in the middle. And the game is going to take CRPG and 90s retro and dark fantasy elements and squish them, compress them down into a 30-minute multiplayer deck builder. So that's the project. And for those, actually, let me pull up YouTube here. I really need to get in the habit of doing this first, so I can see my live. All right. So today is actually a nice transition from my last stream because I did not write a line of code after signing off 2 days ago. So what I'm working on specifically, the game has gone through a couple of different rewrites as we're trying to settle on a network architecture, and we've landed on Steam, and some of it I did myself, some of it my husband did himself in a past project that I copied. But now what I'm doing is I'm taking the old UI that I had designed, and it's referencing a bunch of systems that were pointing to the old network architecture. And so I'm taking that, so it's not working right now, and I'm going to update it to point to our new systems and get all of the old elements back in place. So that's the plan for tonight. And it won't look like the finished product. We're in functional prototype as much as we possibly can be lately. But so this will be the old UI, but I'm going to plug it in and then add a couple more UI elements so that it matches our high fidelity mockup that I made. Then we can start plugging into the systems my husband's doing. He already did the equipment selection phase, and now he's just did the enemy spawning, so he's actually working quite ahead of me. So it's time to catch up. So let's see, I wasn't building, looks like. One word of advice for people starting out on their projects: never leave the night. You know how they say never go to bed angry? Never go to bed without a running build. Okay, so we can select a class, and then, okay, yep, the only thing I did that night was, or where I left off last night, is I had the card and border panel around the viewport wired up. So now I believe I was starting to work on getting the toolbar back in place. So let's do that. Hello again, Soknan Cock 363. Welcome back to the stream. How are you today? All right. There's one challenge because I've got a 1440p monitor, and trying to get the font big enough that it looks nice on stream is such that I have terrible vision, but I am wearing my contacts right now, and thus I have very good vision with my contacts, and this text is huge. Let me know if that's doable. Is that small enough that you can see, or is that big enough that you can see that? Because that's much easier for me to work with here. All right, so let's look at our build error from 2 nights ago. Oh, I think this was actually in a reasonable spot. So I had ported over my fill background utility function. And what this does is it takes a background image and it just splits it across the whatever rectangle that I've specified. Oh, or no, does it? Oh, okay. I don't have to specify the rectangle. It gets the region of the whatever element and pushes it in there. Okay, so we needed background image scale, which should come from image scale, and then that's good. Now we just need to go into, oh, not class selection, game UI. We need to get the background texture ID. That's very unhelpful. What did I, this was the toolbar. Okay, so now I'm going to look in my, I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff, everything but my old code. So that's my sage advice. I'm using CMake as my build system. I used to complain bitterly about CMake, but now I'm to the point where I can do what I want to do. My husband can eat, sleep, and breathe CMake, but I get it enough to do what I need to do, and now we have enough of a body of examples that I can follow along. Okay, so what I was going to check now is I have an image cache class that allows me to fetch images and load them into memory for whatever context I'm working in, and I need to make sure that the toolbar text, but I'm confused why I'm calling fill background here instead of just splitting the image. I don't remember why I made that choice, but it is okay. So background text ID is the UI background. Okay, I should just roll with whatever I had back last year, or maybe this was probably around December, this code. Figure out why I was considering the toolbar to be a background. Oh, okay. So what I need to do is just grab this texture and put it in the image cache. Yeah, I don't have it in there yet. So the way I've divided this class, each of my UI scenes have their own image cache, and then I can just send over just the image cache, and then I don't have to worry about passing in a pointer to our graphics module, which actually loads the image. I just have a handle to it right here already as an mGUI texture reference, so add another one here, and I guess I'm going to call it background UI, and then figure out what it actually is. This is not the image I'm thinking of, because I would have called it toolbar UI. I'm expecting it to be this stone, kind of a stone strip, but I don't know why I would have called that background UI. We're about to find out. Okay, BG, UI BG. All right, then now that I have that in the image cache, I'm already passing the image cache into my game UI, so I can just grab, oh, but I have to pass it through my, I really should just pass the direct image cache in here. I think I am going to do that because this is unnecessarily narrow. Image cache, and then return a game image cache by constref. Hi, Onkin. Yes. So this is long story short. We are using Diligent graphics now. This is Renderer version 3. Renderer version 2 I wrote in just direct Vulkan. Renderer version 3 we're using Diligent. So yes and no. I say yes because right now the only API we have exposed and we're building is in Diligent is Vulkan. And Vulkan is actually, unfortunately, the only API I'm actually very familiar with. So that's why I say yes. But if you're not familiar with Diligent, take a look. It's called Diligent Engine. And the repo, I believe, is called, maybe the product is Diligent Graphics and the repo is Diligent Engine with one L. But it's free unless you need Molten BK support. Or no, maybe just Metal. But a very, very well-supported library. And whenever anyone asks about it, I always have to brag on how cool the guy that makes it is. if you join his Discord, he will respond no matter how asinine your question is. He will respond within an hour, or has for me. Highly recommend that library. Okay, so I'm returning the image cache directly now rather than having a separate method for every image. And this is my controller layer. All of the business/game logic that the UI needs to care about, and even some of the presentation logic, anything that can be tested, is extracted to this layer. And then the UI has a reference to the game controller. And then I can unit test this layer because nobody wants to try to unit test mGUI. So I pass my controller in here into my UI layer, and then the UI only has to be concerned with the UI concerns. Okay, so I'm going to say controller get image cache. Yeah, way to go, Onkin. I feel like I'm butchering everyone's name so badly. I'm so sorry. And there's a delay in my video, so even if you gave me the phonetic pronunciation, it would be at least 2 minutes before I see it. But I think that if I were to do it again, I would have started with OpenGL too, because there are there's like 3 tiers of learning graphics programming. The first one is understanding whatever language you're using, like C++ or C or whatever you choose. And then the next tier is understanding fundamental graphics programming concepts. And then the third tier is understanding the nuance of, actually there's 4, the GPU, and then 4 is understanding the specific API you're using. And I just went and skipped all of that and went right into Vulkan, and it took me 6 times as long as it normally would, and I don't know that I retained as much as I normally would have. So I think the move is get familiar with the language, like C++ or whatever you use, then get into just the graphics pipeline, graphics programming fundamentals, linear algebra. If I would have done it again, that's what I would have done. There is a book I highly recommend called Real-Time Rendering. This is the move. Get this book. It's expensive as heck, but I wonder if you can find it used. I'm assuming they use it in college textbooks, so it gets college textbooks inflation price, but the best book ever for graphics programming. It teaches you all the fundamentals and advanced concepts, but in a way that's very clear, and it builds upon itself. So I would get that book and do the graphics programming stuff, fundamentals first, and then use OpenGL, because OpenGL is much simpler than Vulkan. And only then get Vulkan. Because the thing I'll say about OpenGL, maybe this is just naive because I don't know it very well, but I feel like you don't get exposed to as many of the internals of how to communicate with the graphics card, and even like the architecture of the graphics card, because a lot of it is abstracted because it's a higher level language or higher level abstraction than Vulkan is. But certainly don't skip all the steps and go to Vulkan, because I did that and I lived to tell the tale, but I feel like I spent a lot of time re-architecting things because my assumptions that I made about how things work were wrong. And the second piece of advice I would give, if you're interested in advice, is do not create any abstractions whatsoever. I will die on that hill. I mean, obviously, okay, if you have code that you're copying and pasting all over the place, it's fine to extract that into a method, but don't get into the spot where, oh, I know what a descriptor set is. I'm going to make a descriptor set manager class that's going to handle all of my descriptor set concerns. I'm going to invest a lot of time making this class testable and nice and bulletproof and future-proof, and then you realize that, oh, I actually don't understand how descriptor sets work, and now I'm backed into this architecture that will require a refactor in order to add anything. That's actually why I ended up having to scrap most of my Vulkan renderer, and we switched over to Diligent because I over-abstracted. Hi, Glandable, welcome back. So I am full of sage advice today. Okay, advice 1, never go to bed with build errors, because you're going to wake up the next morning and forget where you were and feel frustrated. Advice 2, don't use Vulkan as your first graphics library. And what was my third one? The third one, don't over abstract, especially when it comes to writing graphics libraries. Just keep all your big giant blocks of, if you're using the C Vulkan interface, just leave it straight nasty all in one giant class because it'll be easier to refactor that way. All right. So what I was doing was I was instead of creating a method in my controller for every single image, I just grab the image cache in a method, and then that's much easier to maintain. And I have a mystery because in my old code from before the rewrite, I'm trying to make the toolbar, and the image I had selected for the toolbar was the background UI, which it doesn't make sense to me because what I thought it was. Why are you mad? What I thought it was this specific texture that has a specific array of bricks, and that doesn't make sense to be in the background or to be stretched and filled. Image scale. Oh, what are you supposed to be? Let's see oh, yeah. Okay, so in the old world, background image scale was what? Is it up here? Oh, it's just half. Okay. That's fine. 0.5, I can handle that. Never allocate on freeze, but I always tell myself and still do it. Yeah, I have decided that it's really easy to share advice to other people. And you're going to catch me during the stream. Probably not this one today because I'm working on stuff that's relatively simple, but going against violating all of my sage advice I just gave to you. Because I did go right to Vulkan before understanding fundamental graphics programming concepts. And I did go to bed with compiler errors last stream. And I will certainly over abstract something. All right, let's see what this background is. Nothing. Oh, because I'm not calling the method, you guys. Okay. Got a toolbar. So this over here, this is old code from the first go around when I made this UI. And I could just direct copy and paste it, but some of the systems are wrong and I want to clean it up as I'm going anyway. Okay, so we have the toolbar dimensions. This is just a little struct that allows me to use like oh yeah, I had to move into my other class. Use ratios and aspect ratios and stuff to make a UI that scales with the screen size. Okay. Now let's see what this image is. Oh, okay. That is not what I thought it was, but I am fine with it. So I don't care what it's going to look like for this this first move. I think this could be just rectangles for all I care, because it's going to get a massive facelift eventually when we're in the polishing stage. But for now, we have buttons, and we need buttons. We need scroll bars. We need panels. All right, so we have the toolbar. We have the stones panel. Now we need the players panel, and now I have to pull up my high fidelity mockup. And I tell everyone when I pull this up that I don't know what the word is for it, but I took every single one of these images except for the viewport and the font and liberally stole any image that looked right from Photoshop or from Pinterest. I'm sure half of it was AI generated because I don't care for this. I'm just looking for a high fidelity mockup so that I can think clearly about where my buttons need to be and if I'm not accounting for any buttons. But this is what it will look like eventually. I'm gonna oh, thank you, Glenn. I think it's going to be really cool. I've got a bunch of different ways with the visual style, but I get so excited. I have a very clear sense in my head of what it will look like, and making that so is difficult. And it's kind of a vulnerable place to be because I know I can sense when something is really good, and I can sense when my own stuff isn't quite good enough yet. And in that sense, it's kind of freeing because I can just iterate if it's not good enough yet until it meets my own quality. But there's a lot of art I have to make, and all of it has to not only be good enough, but it has to tie together really cohesively. So I'm feeling some vulnerability about that lately, and some nerves, but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. But I'm really excited for the actual gameplay. I am. Hey, Polyjosu, welcome back. And Glandable, welcome back if I hadn't said that already. But I am using MGUI for in-game windows, yes. I found that you can bend MGUI to your will because MGUI allows you to have images and animations. So, I mean, this is very MGUI. This is low fidelity. Actually, everything you're going to see here today is low fidelity, but like this is an MGUI panel, this is an MGUI panel. And so if you can have images and animations, then and custom fonts and font scaling, you can make whatever UI you want. You just have to do it the hard way. So that's the move. And we're doing it not to be intentionally obtuse or hard-headed. We are doing it because we already had MGUI integration in the engine for debugging. And we're not about to try to either create a UI library or pull in an existing one that isn't MGUI just for an easier road of it, because it's easy enough just to make your own images and resize them to how you need. Okay. So the player panel is going to be here. I don't remember if in the old view the logs panel was down here, but let's see. Yeah, let's just pull everything in and then we'll see what adjustments we have to make here. Okay, so next we're going to need a player. Well, I'm going to call them players. Player dimensions. And it's going to be here. We're going to need a new ratio for the player's width. Oh, let's already put that in there. Sweet, I already did. And then the viewport, which is viewport ratios dot size. No, viewport dimensions dot size. +4. Get out of here with that. Why did I do? I'm gonna leave it. Okay, so then what do we do in the players? Oh yeah, we can't. This is just grabbed from an old branch, so we don't have symbols or anything. Draw players. What do we do here? We have a background again. We have a table for each of the players. Oh, that's pretty simple. I wonder how much of this I can just grab, but let's be decisive about it. Okay. So we need player count, player column count, and player image aspect ratio. It's so nice now that I have the image cache because I don't have to do this anymore where I pass into each function the texture ref because I can just grab it from the controller, and oh, that's a huge quality of life improvement here. Players, and then we just need our panel dimensions and player dimensions. So this will be in game. It will be it's gonna be a multiplayer game with 4 players, so you'll be able to see there similar to a party, although they're not technically in your party, but you'll be able to see their character image, character portrait, their health, the amount of enemies they have left, which in this game is the inverse of victory points. And then also a little eye icon, because I'm a big fan of the point and click games from the 90s where you have an eye. And hi Monsi. Oh yeah, it'll be really interesting. I've been watching his streams too, just because I want to see. He's taught me so much about C++, but it's really interesting to see how he codes versus how I code. And I've really never just sat and watched him code before, so it's interesting that he records it. He's generally more like zeroed in on the mission than I am. I'm hop around a lot. But we have hit success with hopping around a lot, so I am not criticizing myself. It's working for me. All right. So add that to the header. Oh, I will be right back. The boy is up. See you in a bit. All right, we're back. Let me know if the audio is much worse now. I turned the air conditioner on because it is hot here today. Probably just gonna leave it on even if you say the audio is bad. So apologies for the rest of the stream if it is bad. Okay. So we want to draw the players, we need our panel dimensions, and we do not need our individual textures anymore, which I'm just thrilled about. It was such a pain. That was an example of a good level of abstraction. It solves one small purpose and was operating on information that I already had. Okay. I'm going to get rid of all these classes that have nothing to do. All these tabs that I don't need right now. Okay. So we're going to need this. I can copy this too. Creating another window. And the imgui flags. No scroll with mouse. I might need to add that one. But let's see. Title bar resize move. Bring to front. No background. No. Okay, so let's just do this. Okay. End in that table in the window. Okay, then we need, this is the kind of thing I want to look at without just directly copying. Okay, we have our padding, that will be fine to take. Yeah, that's fine, although I want to be consistent with naming. Your dimensions. Okay, so let's do padding here. So for those that are joined a little bit later, if you're wondering why I already have this code, it's because I already have done everything that I'm doing right now with the previous networking and backend. We've actually rewritten the entire backend. So this has been commented out during that entire rewrite, but now a lot of it is pointing to old systems, and we had the instance orchestrator in the old one, now we have an instance manager, and the paradigm's quite different for how we interact with this thing. So it's not a direct copy and paste, but a lot of it will be the same. And now moving forward, since I've done a better job splitting out the business and game logic and even presentation logic from like just the straight, here is the view. If I do yet again re-architect it a third time or fourth time, wherever we're at now, then I probably can just directly copy and paste because it just needs a controller class that tells it what to do. And then this is almost only UI concerns, which I'm happy about too. Okay, so we have our padding, now we're going to be getting the table. Let's just see how that looks. Table, then player column count, which I didn't copy over yet, but I will. And then I'm going to call the method this time. Muncie, was that you that told me that my Discord link was expired? I can't remember if it was, but whoever that was, thank you, because now my Discord link in YouTube is finally up to date. I had done just like copied the very first. I'd opened Discord and copied the share with your friends link and put it on YouTube, and I realized it was a 7-day share, so it's been expired for over a year. But now, if you're interested in joining the Discord, you are welcome to. We don't do a bunch on there yet. I need to set it up with like an introductions and show off section and etc. But you're welcome to go there if you want to chat more directly. Okay. So I suppose we don't have a background. We don't have anything to see yet because we're not actually rendering anything, and I chose no background. But assuming that's working, let's start filling it in. Oh, it's Bali Josu. Sorry, Bali Josu. Thank you for doing that. Oh, and then I saw some other coded edit 808. Are you using SFML? No, what is... I don't know what SFML is. SFML. Software Simple Fast Multimedia Library. No, I'm not. But it seems pretty neat. Yeah, Bali Josie, you're right. Do not fix bugs after midnight. That is another good piece of advice. My other advice is LLMs are great, and I am not anti-LLM by any means, but if you're trying to learn something, I wouldn't use LLMs at that stage. We don't use them for this project because I'm banking on... So first of all, I use LLMs at work a lot. And that's not... It's cool. It's very, very cool to see where the technology's at. But I want to be able to have an oasis where I can just code and do the things that I enjoy. I legitimately enjoy coding. I enjoy moving at a snail's pace now in the modern world of, hey, you can vibe code a SaaS app overnight. I don't want a vibe coded SaaS app overnight. I want a project where I put a lot of thought into every detail, and I'm hoping that by the time we finally get ready to release this, the AI tooling will have increased even further. And there will be so many games on the market that have been made vibe coded overnight, and people will be... the demand for something made by hand with a great amount of thought put into literally everything will be higher than ever before. That is, fingers crossed, is what I'm banking on. Yeah, well, I've never used SFML. Okay, so now we've got to look at SFML. Okay, so what does it give you? So is it an asset importer? Very smart. Okay, so ease the development of games and multimedia applications. Is it... so systems, Windows graphics, audio network. Bindings for scene.net. It does look cool. Let's look at documentation here. Oh, wow. Okay, so we use GLFW for our Windows stuff. We were own text. So is this like a game, like a render? It gives you user input, audio, textures. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can see the appeal for sure. Music. So how built out is its UI library? Holy cow, you guys. I've literally never heard of SFML. Huh. Okay, so it allows you to do a window, music, input. So what does its graphics library look like? So you can draw to the screen. Is it 2D or Okay, let's look at render states. Okay, so this is like it has blend mode, stencil mode. This is like a render pass. You can oh my gosh. It's like SDL, but way easier. It's most used in the intro to C++ game dev because it's a really good 2D game. Is it a 2D game engine then? But, I mean, you can pass your own shader, it looks like, so it could be 3D if you needed it to be. Oh. Namespaces, let's look at there. Oh, and it's written on Vulkan? That's super cool. Wow. Yeah, we use just a scattering of things. RT Audio for audio. We use GLFW for Windows. We use our own renderer for textures. We don't have a difference between textures and sprites. Font, we use MGUI. Dang. That's very, very cool. Okay, so MGUI. So then I suppose like you would just need your own ECS and physics and like scenes and stuff, but that seems like a much smaller task than writing your own renderer and such. Very cool. We didn't even write our own in-game engine on any kind of soapbox like Unity sucks or Unreal is too unwieldy. I feel some of those things now, but the game engine just started as like hey, my husband wanted to write a game engine, and then I started getting interested in it too, and I wanted to learn graphics, and so I started playing with graphics, and then eventually got to the point where we actually just could use it to make a game. So we did the Pirate Software Game Jam 2 years ago, and that was super fun. And that's what our itch link is. Any thoughts on RT audio versus mini audio? No, and I don't know even very much about RT audio. Ask Cal about that on his stream. He's done almost all of the audio with RT audio. But I've never heard of mini audio. I think RT audio is Windows only. I have that suspicion. That is marked as like a checkbox that we need to fix. I don't even know if that's true. But that would be a con if that is true. Mig says, I know nothing about coding and I don't know what witchery I'm looking at right now. Mig is, that is okay. We accept all kinds here. Sometimes I feel like I know nothing about coding. And I, especially right now, haven't even been coding for like 10 minutes. I've just been chatting. So you are welcome to watch. So with the witchery, and unfortunately for you, Migs, MGUI isn't like the best introduction to coding. MGUI is, this is intimidating, I think, to anybody because there's just a whole bunch of blah splashed on the screen, and it's not easy to follow what's happening, especially if you're not familiar with like a non-traditional UI. I feel like most people are familiar with retained mode GUIs, but bear with me because unfortunately I will be working in MGUI for the next foreseeable several streams. All right, so what were we doing? We set up the padding for the table. Now we want to actually start rendering the images. Okay, so we need to calculate. Let's see here. Const auto rows equals player count. Why do I need to do that? Why can't I just say that my rows are 4? And then, and rows doesn't need to be an int. Const auto. Why did I do any of this? I think that I don't need to do any of this. I'm just going to say, now do I have, what do I actually want to do now? Because I want to have the player profile picture, which will just be there. Oh, you know, I wonder if I need a second image cache here. I'm going to do that because we want, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I already have, if we look at the class selection menu, I already have this class loadout here, the class profile picture, which will be stored in the class selection image cache. So you're not going to be able to see it really because it's the bots go really quick here, but boom, I already have those images. So I want to pass those along so I can show you. So those are the other image cache. So I will need 2 image caches. So I will have 2 references here, and I can no longer just call it image cache. So we want the game and we want the class selection menu image cache. And image cache. That is unfortunate, but what do you do? Oh, and it goes all the way up. So now at this point, I'm just going to pass the entire image cache in to the controller itself. And then don't need to do this, I can just do this. Okay, then this will be image cache dot cache. This will be then I've got to update my UI. Just to pass in the image cache itself here. Okay. Then I'm going to update you now. So this will be the game image cache and the game image cache, and now you are going to be the class selection image cache. So I want mgui begin, what's called table next row. So 0, want table and we want, I don't know if I even need to do, I think I was trying to get fancy here to try to do columns, but I'm just going to do mgui same line because that's what I did for my other one and it worked just fine. So we want to do mgui image and we want image ID to be, okay, first we do texture ref, which would be controller dot get class selection image cache dot. Oh yeah, so we don't have, shoot, what I want to do is show the, oh, it's a stinker, dang. I want to show the image that each player picked. So I'm going to need to, so if they picked rogue, I'm not actually tracking that the player picked rogue. In the previous scene, what we do is just, if they click the button rogue, we just show rogue in the image, but we don't cache that they picked it. So we're going to need the game instance to get their persona. And then persona doesn't. Oh, yeah, okay, that's what we're gonna do. So let me write myself a comment. So we need step 1, get game instance and get persona. Or no, not persona. We just need, okay, what is in game? Because we need the class type. So game state will tell us what classes you picked because persona does not have that information. So get games instance and get game state. Then step 2, get class selection for each player from game state. Step 3, add controller method to return image based on chosen class. And then do we also want to extend that same controller method to do, let's see, no, we'll keep it simple for now. Well, okay, so what I'm debating is, do I want to get create a struct that captures the profile name, the health, their remaining enemies, and their image? Yes, I probably do. Kilmane, where did I get the art from? For this, liberally stolen from Pinterest, and so this specific guy, in the class selection menu, I'll show you that. These guys, I did the art myself. I painted him, and then because we're in functional prototype stage, so I didn't, don't want to take the time to do a rogue and a wizard right now. So then I painted a rogue hat and a wizard hat. So this is mine. But then, and this isn't mine. I had done this in Photoshop, this panel, and then this is my shader, and then my 3D models. But the this is liberally stolen from Pinterest. So this is my painting here, and this is my shader. This back here is an image stolen from Pinterest. These are stolen from Pinterest and then painted and like moved and bent to my will. This rock pattern is stolen from Pinterest. These are all stolen from Pinterest. This is just like a high fidelity mock-up. I wasn't going to paint it myself at this stage because even with high fidelity, a lot of this might change, but the plan here is visually I want to capture what it's going to feel like, and then technically I want to make sure every button is accounted for. The gadgets. Hi, gadgets. Hi. Can I tell about something in web development? No, I am not a web developer. So in my day job, I guess I'm kind of becoming one now, much to my chagrin, but in my day job, I do legacy desktop development for a SaaS company, and we run the gamut. So there's some Go code, there is a lot of VB.NET code, a lot of C# code, and a sprinkling of Vue because I am starting to dabble in some web stuff. But to this day, I've been a software developer professionally for 14 years now, 13 years. I have not written a line of JavaScript outside of college. So that's all I can tell you about web development. Thanks, Kilmane. So they didn't all match each other to begin with. I did a lot of like use the liquify tool to bend this into the right shape, then like color graded it, and then painted these golden tendrils on there, and then like this stone array is mine. These might be mine too. I can't remember, but this was like there's a name for it. It's called like Photoshop clobbering or something. I'm blessed I haven't done any web dev. Yeah. Yeah, it's not where my heart lies, I'll tell you that, but a lot of cool things have been written in the web. The Gadgets wonders, how much do I earn doing this and in which country? I nothing. Unless we're talking about my day job, um, then I do very well. Or no, not like Silicon Valley well, but like my husband's a stay-at-home dad and we are keeping ourselves above the poverty line well. But U2430. Hello, I was watching an earlier stream and enjoyed Guitarist Nude's guitar. That's Cal. And though I couldn't find any of his work online. Oh, okay. Let me figure out. So, husband is Nude's guitar. I will try to link it. £3 time to hit a KBBQ. I see that you did not mean to type that here, lol, or Monsi, but I love K barbecue. Okay, let me find Nude's guitar, and then I will get back to coding and quit yakking. Okay. Yeah, that is Cal's channel. He is, among many things, also a very, very good musician. So let me try to... You guys tell me if I'm, as the host, able to post links. Can you see that? So he does like the heavy lifting architecture stuff in C++, and then he does the music. I don't know how to configure my settings so that I don't have a delay in between what I'm talking and what you guys see, but if someone can tell me if they see a link in chat, that'd be great. Awesome. I am from America, the Gadgets. Where are you from? All right. So, yeah. Let's get back into it here. I told myself a couple streams. Thank you. Yeah, he really is. I'll tell him he said that. I got really lucky, I'll tell you that. But I told myself a couple of streams. Oh, Ireland, that's awesome. India, sweet. My manager's from India. Actually, my manager and my grand boss, so my manager's manager, are both from India, and they're both really, really bright ladies. Kilmane, I am just today, so I'm the worst at streaming. This is why I really enjoy streaming. It's very fun to talk to you guys, but I get nothing done because I'm so interested in what you guys are telling me. I like talking about myself and the game project. And it's also actually kind of difficult to code, or code and talk at the same time. But I am making a mood board for the setting of the game. That's what I was working on today instead of coding. And I have stumbled into Welsh mythology. And my sense of geography is bad enough that I don't know, and I'm so embarrassed saying this, but I don't know how many through lines there are between Irish mythology and Welsh mythology. But I grabbed some stuff from Vermis, which is a really cool art project. It was a manual made for a game that doesn't exist. It's got the coolest vibes. And then this is a poem, Neil Gaiman's instructions poem that I've always loved. And then this is just snippets that I was finding that were really badass from Welsh mythology. Where was it? I'm not going to attempt to pronounce these names, but this lady gives birth to a blob-like entity, which she names Lula Gifts. And then this other person takes this baby and locks it in a chest, and then the baby turns into a boy that grows at twice the normal rate. That is so, so cool. I love magical realism. Anyway, tangent over. But Ireland is super cool. I've never been there. I think the question is out of topic, but what Americans think about Indians? I have no idea, but I can tell you what I think about Indians. My two managers, so my boss and then her boss, are both Indian women, and they're like the sharpest, smartest people that I've ever worked with. They don't miss a single thing. They are like laser focused, and I don't know if this is because they're from India or just their personality types, but I like working with both of them quite a bit. I love Celtic mythology. I believe there's some differences between Irish and Welsh, but they both fall under Celtic. Welsh language has always freaked me out. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try with. I guarantee you, it is not pronounced Lou La Gifts. But that's all I got for you today. But I'm really, really into like the dark, misty forests and like all the ancient history that is in Wales and England and Ireland, and trying to evoke some of that in this game. I didn't know. Today I discovered um my husband and I and my brother play a lot of Dota, or we did. We haven't played in like a year now, but Puck is a certainly an homage to a Puck, to a fairy, like a mischievous fairy sprite will-o-wisp thing in Welsh mythology. Yeah, I'm gonna do a. It's gonna be like a retro dark fantasy 90s CRPG kind of vibe going on with some magical realism. I definitely want to pull from some kind of mythology base, and so far Welsh is winning for sure because there's some really cool shit in here. I mean, stuff. There's some really cool stuff in here. Like this thing, the Eliodon. It's a species of elf exactly corresponding to the English will-o-wisp. And the Welsh word dan means fire. It also means a lure, and the compound word suggests a luring elf fire. God, that is cool. But it is a double ignis fatuus fairy, which I think is Latin, not Welsh, but carrying at its finger ends 5 lights which spin around like a wheel. Just so cool. And then there was something more to say that people that lived in the south of the United States would had like a similar jack-o'-lantern demon that they said had 5 finger end lights. Just some cool stuff. If I want to make a game, should I have a high-end PC? Uh, totally depends on what kind of game you need. Yeah, I would say Bolly Joseph's got it right. If you want to make like you could use like a simple like so if you want to use Unity or Unreal, then you want to, or maybe Unreal definitely more so than Unity, and I've never used Godot, but you're gonna want a heftier machine because some of those are pretty it's pretty intensive to build, and you don't want to be waiting for a long time. I have a hefty machine because our build does take a million years if I do a full build on this laptop that I use for testing. But I mean, you could make a console game if you're talking about making a game, and you could do it on a potato, and you could have make it in a single class if you wanted. Hold on, I've got a buffer. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. The buffer is here with me. I'm really hoping he does not bark. He might. I'm gonna try to color grade. I just noticed I'm very orange. Hold on a minute. Alright, hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna kick him out again. He's buffing. All right. Hopefully back for a while now. Yeah, I've noticed that the people on this chat have been really positive, encouraging. That's super cool. I don't know how to moderate communities yet, but I definitely want to keep that vibe going. And the one thing I was just reflecting on as I was taking my dog out to go potty, and previously had taken my son to go potty, I don't see a lot of streams where people are coding a large project but also have day job kid and dog, and we are just not watching a lot of them, but I am interested in seeing how people can fit that in, and so I'm hoping that people are as well, because you got to just find the time if it's something you really care about. All right, so I'm going to zone in for a while and actually get some stuff done here. So I need to write a controller method that does this. So let's create a new type here. And I'm going to call it player info. And I can be pretty liberal about the objects that I have in my UI classes, because they're specifically the only thing namespaced by UI, so I don't have to worry about a collision with another class called player info. And also UI's the terminal point if we're looking at like the dependency hierarchy, so I don't have to worry about collisions in that sense as well. But all right, so we need a texture ref for their class image. We need their profile name. We need their actually, I think the type is called health. That's going to be in game types. I think, yeah. We need their, I don't think we actually have a type for that, do we? No, so I'll just make that a uint8. Remaining count. Okay, so then let's see. Yep, that should be everything I need. So I'm going to say auto get player info. I'm going to call it player stat. I think that makes, no, it doesn't. Player info const, and then I'm going to return a const player info ref. So I'm going to need a player array here, which is just a type that is just a vector of, or an array of size for what we have here. So player array, and we templated on player info. Then return. Oh, and it needs a player ID as the parameter. Okay, so then let's initialize this. Now, that was the easy part. So we're also going to need to pass in game state. Do we need anything else from the game instance? So maybe I could just... Yeah, we're definitely going to need the game instance here. No, we're... Okay. I might just... Okay, I'm going to need the player persona too, so... because this is the class that has their user profile image, which we don't want at this level, but it also has their Steam profile name. So we need two things out of game instance, so I'm going to pass just the game instance itself into the controller. but we can't do that because the controller is constructed at application construction time, and the game instance will not exist yet, so it would be an error. So I need to actually pass the instance manager, which is responsible for fetching the game instances themselves. And I'm not going to forward declare. Actually, I think I can. So I'm going to forward declare the instance manager here, which is a class, not a struct. Class instance manager. And then this will be namespace UI. And this will be namespace UI. This will be namespace OU. Okay. So Gadgets was asking, which coding feels hard at the beginning? Coding feels hard until, well, I mean, there are sometimes where it feels hard. For me, definitely still. Like, I have trouble properly templating a class. I always have to look how to do it. But like generally for like basic create a type and fill that type and pass the type and like the memory associated with that stuff is pretty easy nowadays in C++, but if you're looking for advice on how to push through the hard part, I would say it's all about picking the right scope of project. So if you're brand new to C++ and that's the language you want to pick, I would pick some kind of console app game like Hangman, and something that doesn't require like ASCII art, or like don't try to do Snake or something in the console. But I would do like Hangman or like a guess the number game or something like that, because that'll get you in like building and linking and setting up a build system and like Maker C Maker, something simple, and then you'll get through. You'll have to figure out a lot there, but it's scoped to something pretty small, so you can have a good amount of success pretty quickly. And then, like, really, the game is just like how to appropriately pick the right challenges. I think it's not bad to treat C++ like C when you're learning. You'll naturally find yourself looking for better ways of doing things and unlock C++ features as necessary. Yeah. Learn OOP. You can make a calculator in Python. There you go, the gadgets. That's fantastic. Learn OOP, classes, inheritance, and that sort of stuff. If you want to make it feel more rewarding, use something like PyQt or Tinker. Yeah. This game will not be on the Google Play Store. It'll be sold only on Steam. Yeah, the gadgets, you are skyrocketing to the moon if you learn about variables, if it conditions, classes, list tuples. Yeah, you've got the basics. Yeah, the more you learn, the more you earn. That is true. Although in the world of AI, guys, I don't know what things are going to look like for all of us, which is why there's never been a better time to program for fun. Okay. I've already broken my rule. My husband was suggesting that I only talk during build times so that I can actually get some progress done, which is a good advice. Okay, so we have our method to get our player info. Now what we need to do is populate the player infos, which we won't have yet. So How do I want? I've been doing this in a variety of different ways lately, but player info. I just want to have a little bool here that says, because the player info will change, so I don't want to fetch the image in the profile name. How do I want to do this? So I almost have to introduce some kind of... Okay, now what? Let's think about this more clearly. I will know via game event when health has decremented or enemies have decremented for any player. So I will load player info once when the scene has loaded. So I'll have to have an init pool. Then I will load player info only on events. So what do we have for game events right now? I wonder if I can... Okay, on prompt select class. On prompt change equipment. On update phase. No, we'll already... That will be too late. Okay, so... The problem is, so I need to update player infos, or load the player info once, but I can't do it at construction time. That will be before the game has actually been loaded. So before we have a game instance. And I can do it on health change or enemy remaining change, except that I also need to do it one other time, which is when this guy loads. So, and the only hook I have into the flow here is every tick we call draw. So I will make a single... I almost want to handle that from the UI, but I hate having... Yeah, okay. I don't like having any state tracking in the UI at all, but I have to here. Cool. Initialization. Initialize, that's more concise. I hate templates too, Galandable. I understand them. It's a compile time creation of all your classes to save you time to write them. And I understand why you can't have template definitions in the CPP because it's a compile time concern, not a link time concern. But by God, the syntax gets me every stinking time. All right, M is initialized. Move set to false. So what I'm going to do here is just once when we enter the draw, I'm going to handle my initialization stuff. It's kind of a sticker. I hate doing this in the UI because it just makes it so gross. But then we'll call mController.load player info. And that will just happen only on the first draw because we know by the time we're drawing that we already have our game instance. Then we'll call load player again from the context of the controller when those game events have been raised that I was mentioning. Okay, so what are we actually going to do here? We need... Did I pass the instance manager? I did, but I didn't update the UI to pass it in. Okay, so for the game controller, we also need the instance manager. Okay, that was simple enough. Oh, and then we have to... Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. You don't need anything. Just go to bed. Auto can help a lot with template ugliness. Yeah, that's an advanced move, and I haven't figured out how to do it yet. The Gadget was asking if the game is free or paid. It will be paid. We're not sure yet price point, but I'm definitely paid. Instance manager in. Instance manager. I'll actually put that first. Instance manager. Okay, load player info. Because can't you with templates do something like this? I have not gotten into that game yet, but like auto my thing, and then it will figure out based on what colors you have at compile time what it needs to expand it to. That is, I know that such a thing exists. I just have never done it. So the Gadget says, I think I have to leave the chat because I don't know C++, but I'm here because of her advice. Thanks. I think I'll see you tomorrow. If there's a time of the live stream, can you tell me? So I'm going to be live streaming every other day. I might actually just start doing like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday fixed days. I will be streaming again Wednesday night at about 8:30 Central. Maybe what I'll try to do tonight is post my stream ahead of time so you guys have time, more awareness of when it's going to happen. My husband usually streams in the early hours of the morning. So like 2 or 3 in the morning. That's when he's awake. He goes to bed super early, wakes up super early. So I will be streaming at next stream is going to be approximately at 8:30 CST, Wednesday, 6/24. My next stream. My husband's next stream will be 8:30 in the morning. Oh, that's not a good time for watching streams. Compile time plugin loading. If you have a GitHub or anything, it'd be cool to look at. Okay, so load player info. So we have the instance manager now. Now we're gonna get we have to include the instance manager because we've already declared it before. You will watch? Thank you, the Gadgets. That's awesome to hear. You're very welcome. I would love to have you on the stream again. It's really cool to see where everyone is at and the different journeys everybody's on. There is a lot about C++ that I don't know. Okay, instance manager. One second here. Okay. So we need to put this in the game controller. Load player info. Oh, it's certainly all right. Can you find a comfy spot? I know, but it's not bedtime yet. Place. No. No. Hop down. And instance manager dot. Okay, so we want to assert that we are in the game when we try to do this. Assert. And that is in the debug. Assert. Alphabetized. Then we can say instance manager dot. This will give us our game instance. Then we will say dot get game state. So auto state equals get game state. So then what we're trying to get out of here is the player health. So for auto is less than G max clients. Yes, I am interested in poking around other code bases. Definitely. We were having trouble getting a GitHub link before, but if you want to post it in the Discord or in I think YouTube comment. I don't know if YouTube comments allow for links. I know for sure chat doesn't. But I love seeing what people are doing. That was one of the ways that I learned the best, is just looking at other people's repos and being like, oh, that's what they did here, and trying to, like, provided that the code isn't too complicated or too large. It's really cool to see what decisions people have made. Although definitely it depends on where my interests are at the time being, because at the current moment I'm now slipping behind my husband, so I'm desperately trying to keep up with him because he's back-ending like a fiend. But yeah, I would love to look at it. Max clients, my plus. Then we want to say player infos dot at. Can I guarantee, let's look at game state. Can I guarantee that the player array for the game state is in the same order as my, yes, I can. So this is our game state, and we have a construct to it, and I'm going to be able to extract things like, oh, how much health does each player have? Or right here, how much health does each player have? How many enemies are left in their, or how many enemy waves are left? So player infos dot at I dot push. Oh no, wait, I don't want to push back where they have it. Equals player info dot, let's do health first for now, equals game state dot. This is working out so well, this architecture so far. At I dot health dot, oops, comma, enemies remaining count equals game state dot, here enemy waves dot, oh no, maybe I don't have a good way to track this right now, dot alive do. What are you? You are a... Oh, it's a vector, so dot size. Unit. Wonder what happens when you try to cast a size T into a unit 18. Hopefully nothing, because they will never have more than 10 items in the size, but I always wonder. Okay, so then class image. This is where we need... Actually, this might be... We might just be able to knock it out right here. That would be amazing. Class image equals game state dot player stats dot at I dot aren't you dotting? Dot out of order initializers. Okay. Class image profile name health enemies remaining count. Profile name. So, how are you gonna dot? R. Class ID. Oh yeah, I'll do you in a second. Profile name equals game. Well, actually, I want to get the instance here. Instance dot player persona. I'm really hoping I can rely on this map. I think I can. Player ID I. It's really important that that is consistent everywhere. Backend devs scare me more. They work with things like Vulkan and databases. I think that the world of front end and back end is becoming blurred every day. And pretty soon we're all going to have to become everybody's. That's my take on it. Gadget says, after all this, for everyone who watches the stream, that your actions determine how badly you want something. Yeah, I agree. I want to make this game more than I have wanted anything in a very, very long time. I feel like with all the uncertainty in the world, it actually feels easier to throw your dice in on wild hopes and just go for something that you want really badly. Because there's so much uncertainty in the world that you could just kind of make your own reality and go for whatever you want. Rather than... I felt like it was much harder when I was younger, where there were very clear-cut traditional paths that one should take. Who knows what's going to happen now? Okay, player persona dot profile image. Okay, so then this guy just needs to get the... Now we have the class ID, then we just need to get the M... I'm going to call it class selection cache. Image cache dot. Oh no. Oh, yeah, gotta make a quick little helper method here. Space, and then it's going to return auto get class icon, and it's going to take... In fact, I already have this code in my class selection UI, so I'm just going to grab it. Oh, class selection controller, that's where it is. Controller. It's actually not exactly what I needed, but close enough. Okay, so pass in a class. And then we're going to return I am texture ref. So we return, and then we needed that pointer to the class. Class selection menu. Okay, which cache? That is in types. Types. See ya, the gadgets. See ya Wednesday. But you do now have a class ID. It's right here. Probably just a stale squiggle. Okay, so return image cache dot variant icon. Return image cache dot rogue icon. Return image cache dot wizard icon. Oh yeah. Oh no, copied too much. So then oh yeah, this is, I don't want their profile image, I want their profile name. And this is just our get class icon, and then we're going to pass in game this right here. Then we want m underscore image cache dot get class selection menu cache. Okay, so then this should be called okay, we're loading player info here, and then we'll get the player info. I'm gonna call that players info. Gadgets, are you trapped here? You can't escape the stream? Why don't you close your browser? You're stuck with me forever, the Gadgets. Alright. Good boy, by the way. Good boy. Now we can get our players' info, and let's try to get the icon here. So mcontroller dot, oh no, players info dot, oh, it's I see. I think I want to change that actually. Let's just get the whole thing. I wonder if that's what do I really want to do here? Yeah. I don't want to change it, I want to keep. So this is just one instance of player info. And then I want to rename you again back to player info because I didn't realize we were just returning one. Okay. Get player info, player ID I. Then we can do the image is player info dot class image. Image size, let's just do 60 by 60 or something for now. We'll scale it later. Or let's do 120. Alright, let's just see where that had brought us. I'll have to get into a player ID. Alright. Did I never include my game controller CPP? Let's take a quick look. That is a linker error. Linker errors used to be the death of me, and my husband would always say, oh, they're the easiest thing, and now they actually are the easiest thing. This is just telling me I don't know where the symbol is for load player info in the game controller, which indicates to me that I never included it in CMake. I'm really excited to see the classes that you picked in the class selection menu show up here in this little array. Kilmaine is Rathlin Bog, is that an Irish song or a Scottish song? I think it's Irish, but I sing that song to my son to sing him to sleep. I love that song. Oh, the game controller test. I forgot that I had already made a test and wasn't updating it at all. Instance mode, that's an easy one, so I just need to pass the instance manager. Manager Oh, of course, but you don't need things. This is copied from another place where I've already set it up. So we need a user service here. Here. Okay. Let's grab you. We need to grab the mock. Okay, and then the instance manager also needs the async dispatcher, which needs mock task graph for sure. Okay, it needs executor. Which is in mock task graph. All right, what does that do? Nice, it is Irish. Hello, Dimitri. If you are writing in Cyrillic, I cannot understand it. Let me try. Oh, I can translate it to English. What a modern world we live in this year of our Lord 2026. But oh, it's too small. Okay. Thanks, Dimitri. I will expand. I was complaining about this earlier because this is very large for me, but that will it's not the end of the world. I can survive. It's no fun if it's just blurry on the screen and you can't tell what's happening. Galandwell can imagine a future where kids would be embarrassed their parents for manually writing code instead of using AI. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so game controller is telling me that, oh yeah, we're not happy with, yeah. Oh. You know, why don't I just make this a UN8T off the cuff? Then I don't have to cast it a million times. Where was the other place I did that? Oh, I do have to cast it here, actually. Is that better, Dimitri? Okay, throw out a semicolon. And I don't need trailing comma. C++ could be a little more forgiving about trailing commas and declarations and initializers and such. Oh. Oh, yeah. User service. I forgot to include you. No. I didn't. Oh. I did. Okay, and now we need the instance manager. In here, and that should be... Oh, no, but now we want you to be the full image cache now, not the game image cache. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, not... Okay, so image cache, what do you need? Do you need graphics, don't you? Shoot. How did I do this in my other class? I just want to see my class profile icons. Okay, that's not too bad at all. I just need to include mock graphics here. Then I need to pass you into the image cache. All right. You guys think it's gonna work? I am calling that method, am I not? Am I losing my mind? Maybe I'm not calling it. Game UI. Okay, I am calling it. So we're putting it toolbar height, players with ratio, toolbar, oh, the size. Okay. That's right. Scroll with mouse. I'm gonna get rid of padding for now. Let's put some text in here to... Oops, the same one. Text. Text. Okay, we are drawing... What? We're drawing the toolbar in the panel. We're calling draw players, but nothing is being rendered. I wonder if it's a positioning thing. Okay, let's temporarily not draw either of these guys. See if it's a positioning thing. Thank you, Monty. Yeah, I worked on a feature back last year to remap. What? Did it crash? I think it crashed on me. No, don't. Okay, it's not a positioning thing. I just don't have Anything being drawn. Time to get the debugger going. But I worked on a feature that I was really happy with because I wanted to, I actually don't know why it's purple right now. Only the staff should be purple, but so I thought it'd be really cool looking, and it is, but it's just not the vibe I want to go in with anymore. To be able to have everything be largely black and white except for like a couple focus pieces. And the way that I was able to accomplish that was so I used Substance Painter to apply textures, and the diffuse texture for every object in the game is either solid red, solid yellow, or solid green. Let me show you that. This is the stuff I really get excited about. Source. We're in C now. Okay, let's go to staff, for example. Okay, so this is the texture for the staff, and it's just only red and green. And then if we show one with a little bit more, oh, this actually has less. So this is the entire texture for the base color for the cave here. And then what I've done is, in the engine, I created this feature that allows you to tone map. So primary color is red, secondary color is green and blue. I can't remember what the actual mapping is. I think it's just red, green, and blue. But then I can come in here and say, well, actually, I want everything that's red to really be green. And then I want everything that's blue to really be blue. And then this could be like... So this looks super cool. And then I can, like, on the fly, edit the colors I want. But I've decided... One of my friends showed me a Nintendo Switch game called... Oh, shoot. I can't remember what it's called. But it was really cool. It was a dungeon crawler that essentially looked like... Or not a DS game, I'm sorry, not a Switch game. That looked like this. I'd never played it. But it had this cool effect already. And it took the wind out of my sails. So now I'm going to go more natural color tones. But we're trying to diagnose why my table isn't rendering. So let's back it out a little bit and just... Let's even get rid of the table here for a second. Oh, maybe it's because I didn't call table next column. I'll try that if this shows up with something. I love rendering too. One day I'll take you guys all on a tour of my shader and all the different steps I have set up. So I'm really proud of it. I've iterated on that thing a lot. Aren't you running? You crashing away? Why? What could have possibly broken you? I don't believe that it's crashing right away. I think something else is at play here. Okay, so CD, program files, Steam. They really are. Why did something that I did in MGUI break launching the application? That's a mystery. What has happened? Okay, I'm retracing my steps now because I am very confused. So, Melissa was asking, I think your husband was the one who mentioned you use Vulkan, but not it's wrapped in an abstraction layer. Was there a reason for doing that? Yeah, so I wrote our first version of the renderer, or technically second, but the Vulkan renderer, without knowing anything about graphics programming, and just like dove in and chose Vulkan because literally I chose it because I was reading that, oh, it's the next gen graphics API, so I thought, oh, that means it's gonna be faster. Yeah, I don't know why it's crashing. I'm annoyed, so I'm taking a break because it was literally just working. And now I'm worried that there's a bug in my tone mapping in the engine, and I don't want to crack into that right now because it shouldn't have persisted anything when I did that, but it seems like it did. Anyway, so I dove into Vulkan without knowing anything about graphics programming, and I'm extremely stubborn, and I like that about myself, but I just stubborned my way through it for 3 or 4 years and just kept adding more and more and more on it. And as I would learn about Vulkan or about graphics programming concepts, I would over abstract, and so that I backed myself into this massive spaghetti corner, and I just couldn't do it anymore because it was taking it too long to like add any new feature because it was specifically my descriptor set layer was really screwed up in how I was managing it. It was almost completely inverted. And so then I decided, well, let's just scrap it and rewrite it. And I was thinking, well, if I'm going to rewrite it, how will I do things differently? And I started looking at like, there's like VK Bootstrap and some other things that abstract away the boilerplate of Vulkan. So I was looking at that, and then I stumbled onto BGFX, and which is one option for like a higher level graphics engine, and then Diligent engine. And looking at Diligent, it was absolutely perfect. So that's what we ended up going with. But it's not a, contrary to the name, it's not like a renderer, or it's not like a game engine. It is just a slightly higher level than Vulkan, but not as high level as OpenGL abstraction over the graphics API, so graphics API concepts. So you still like, you have to set up your pipelines and like set up your descriptors and all of that, but it does it in a way that you can write in a single API, and then it will backport to every graphics API. So OpenGL, WebGPU, or WebGL, I can't remember which, Vulkan, DirectX 11 and 12, and Metal. And you don't have to write specific code for each of those graphics APIs. So that was what initially drew me to it. And right now we're only targeting Vulkan. We're not targeting the others, but we could with minimal help or with minimal changes, just like we've done a couple things. So you can expose the raw Vulkan methods underneath, and we've done that in a couple of places where Diligent was lacking in features, but generally it's very feature complete. So we would just have to undo those and find a general purpose solution for what we were trying to do if we wanted to get like one of the other languages, like DirectX or something. Yeah, Galandwell says, I see Diligent is just a cross-cloud abstraction layer with a lot of backends. Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, see, you and I are spirit animals because that was exactly it. The amount of stubbornness one needs to pursue Vulkan, but it it's really cool once you start to understand like descriptor sets and like what a shader actually is and how it feeds in, and like they call that stuff the render hardware interface is the term I heard about that recently. Like, how does the GPU talk to the CPU? Like, what is the layer that you create using Vulkan to communicate back and forth and handle the memory management and stuff? That stuff is really cool. I enjoy that a lot. Glenn, well, next time someone asks me about Diligent, I'm literally just going to say it's a cross-platform abstraction layer with a lot of backends. That's a much more concise definition. I like that a lot. But I'm so annoyed as to why this is crashing now. Truly haven't. The only thing I did was work on remapping, but that doesn't write anything anywhere. So what could... You know, there's something to do here, actually, now that we're talking about Vulkan. Maybe I really screwed something up with the... with my feature to tone map, and then fiddling around with it broke something. Let's see. Oh, we can't even post anything. Huh. Why? Okay. When in doubt, delete your build directory and rebuild. That stinks. I'm very curious. Well, now I'll have lots of time to chat because the full build takes a while. There's no shame in doing VE. I mean, that's legitimately what I was looking for, is something like VEZ or VK Bootstrap or something. Let's see, have you read, I keep forgetting what the name is, Real-Time Rendering? While we're waiting for the build here. This is the best graphics programming book I've ever read. It's so good. Well, of course I want you to automatically rebuild the cache. I haven't had a mysterious bug like this in a long time. Because I thought we already tested it with the instance and stuff. Okay, let's maybe talk through that. So I added the instance manager. And we do assert if we're not in a game. But by the time we get here, we will be in a game. No, and we're definitely not getting here yet because we're not even... Okay, so we're in the main... We don't even get to the main menu here. And the other thing I can do is, main... Put my debug in there again. Let's go right here. Size stream, it's gotta be in here. Yeah. Just get in there with the debugger, I guess. So, I've heard of game engine architecture. I've never read that one. Well, see, you're reading real-time rendering right now. I don't have enough time for this, but it would be so fun to do a book club. Game engine architecture is one of those ones that I've seen a million people recommend. I just haven't read it yet. Oh, hi, Dimitri. You said currently developing for Godot and Vulkan. Everything's great, but why do games developed for DirectX always experience a drop in FPS under Vulkan? I've never seen any improvement. I would imagine it's because people were going for a direct port of like 11 to Vulkan and probably aren't doing any like anything that would make use of the flexibility that you have in Vulkan. But performance-wise, I think that my current renderer, the one that I wrote in Diligent, it's hard to say that I can't say that it's the least performant because it's like the most feature complete, but I'm definitely not doing great things right now in it. I have, if I could build and run, I could show you in RenderDoc, but I have a crazy amount of render passes, and each one of them right now is set up to write to an off-screen texture. And I render the scene geometry like 6 or 8 times right now. A ridiculous amount of times. I'm not doing deferred rendering. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I need to fix. Yeah, I do have a bunch of asserts in here, and I'm very annoyed that it's not telling me which one of them is tripping me up. That is one complaint I have about C++ is it's when it crashes, it's got to be that it's the hardest language I've ever, or when it doesn't work, it's the hardest language to figure out why it doesn't work. Working with .NET is much easier on that front. Are you feeling annoyed? Is it too late? Is it time for us to go to bed here soon? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have it in me to wait another 10 minutes for this build. I think I'm going to call it here and break my rule that I rolled out, which is never go to bed with a broken build. But I'm going to call it here. I'll be streaming again Wednesday around 8:30 CST. My husband will probably be streaming tomorrow morning. But thank you all for joining. It's really fun chatting with you. And I will continue to be working on the UI for the next couple of streams. Have a really good day and night, depending on where you are in the world, and I'll